Hello everyone, this is your girl Composy, back with another video on That's It, That's All. That's it, that's all. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys are happy with the videos and with the content that we have been providing so far. We plan to do much more in the future, and as the channel continues to grow, and we just really thank you for your continued support and patronage. This video, as you have already seen, and that's probably why you clicked on it, is all about the interview between Meghan McCain and Seth Meyers. She was on his show last night, May the 7th, that is Late Night with Seth Meyers, who, by the way, I find to be incredibly freaking funny. I damn near live for his a closer look segments. They're just hilarious. I don't really care about the interviews as much, but those segments and his openings, the man is genius, and he has great writers in addition to him being a great writer. But anyway, the interview with Meghan and Seth started off very nice, very cordial. They were speaking about her time as an intern at SNL, which, first of all, Meghan McCain is not a comedian. She's not a comedy writer. I haven't ever heard her mention wanting to go into television production or wanting to be an executive producer or any of those things that one would do that would qualify them to be an intern at that level, to do an intern at a place like SNL. Saturday Night Live, is an institution. And the people that normally go to intern there is because they plan to set up careers in that vein and in that direction. It's the same thing with the interns at the White House. Normally you don't go to intern in DC or at a state capitol if your plan is to become something totally different. You normally intern in your field. That's just what makes sense, right? So they started there, and for me personally, now I know that I'm always kind of looking and listening a little bit deeper. I will accept that. I will accept that I do that. But I really kind of took it that Seth was more or less doing a temperature check with Meghan. Like, oh yeah, so remember your days back at SNL? Well, you don't have anything bad to say about me, do you? You and I were fine. And Meghan mentioned that one time she had to organize some magazines or whatever, and Seth came in and helped her out with that. So that was fine. So they started off nice and cordial. And they actually ended nice and cordial. Let me not try to, over dramatize anything. But the interview to me was very illustrative of just how Meghan McCain deals with the media and how she deals with people in the media who have a differing opinion. She completely shuts down. She shuts down, she gets hostile, and it's just really unnecessary. Now, what I do know that she has been saying of herself and what she has been working towards, what it seems career-wise she's been working towards, is a career being some type of as she calls herself, a political analyst. So I don't know all of what she intends to do with that. She is always giving political advice to the Democrats, but she's calling herself a political analyst. And I'm sure within that capacity, you would need to be able to listen to others and understand where they're coming from, but also maintain your own. See, that's the difference between Meghan McCain and a Ben Shapiro. That's the difference. They're both millennials. I'm also a millennial. We're all millennials, and the difference is amongst the three of us, definitely amongst the two of them, because they're the ones that are in it. They're doing it for a living and all of that. One of them is able to maintain their position, their poise and their calm, and the other gets very animated, very excited, and shuts down. So they started off talking about Lindsey Graham, and I hadn't heard Meghan McCain really speak on this whole situation of how it went from Lindsey Graham and your dad were best of buddies, best friends. They were very tight Senate colleagues. Everyone knew that. That had been a long-running thing for quite some time. And all of a sudden, Trump's in office, your dad has passed away, and now he's over here basically kowtowing and licking the boots of Donald Trump. Whereas before, when your dad was living, he had more backbone and more resolve than that. I have my own thoughts, feelings, and opinions on that whole situation with Lindsey Graham. He is just, one of these people who has been able to really do a lot and squeak by because of because of his persona, because he has that Southern, that quote unquote Southern gentleman persona. And but he has done some disgusting things, and he's been in the Senate for a very long time now, and he's been doing disgusting things for a very long time. So that's not new. I do feel bad for Meghan McCain, that someone that she considers like an uncle, that he is now doing this, because it's disrespectful to John McCain's legacy, and to me it's Lindsay, that is disrespecting his own legacy of being that person in the Senate that stood with John McCain, the Maverick. You are erasing that from your own legacy in history, but that's on him. That's what he chooses to do. So that was interesting to hear her speak on that. She said she gets questioned about it a lot, and I would imagine that she does, because it's just like I was saying in the video that I did on The View, the shift from her and Whoopi being so close as they were, and Whoopi doing so much coddling of Meghan as she did, to now you're literally making fun of this girl and mocking her voice, or at least maybe she didn't call herself mocking Meghan McCain that day, but it damn sure came close to it, if that's not exactly what you meant. That's certainly how it was perceived by most of us on the other side of the screen. So yeah, it's been jarring, that whole thing, to watch Lindsey Graham go from being best friends of John McCain to kowtowing to Donald Trump. So they then get into Meghan's comments about Representative Ilhan Omar and some tweets that she had put out that were deemed to be anti-Semitic. Now, full disclosure from me, this is not something that I have done too much research on. It's really not something I'm interested in, and I'm going to tell you why. Not that I don't think it's worth going into, not that I don't think that there is anti-Semitism in all places. Racism hides in all corners. It's not exclusive to conservatives. It's not exclusive to liberals. Racism and bigotry hides in all places. It's amongst all people. It just has to be sniffed out, weeded out, and uprooted for us to deal with it. But we will never be able to talk about it if we can't deal with the issues from a point of fact. Now, the reason why I have not done my own too much research or gone too deep into this on my own accord is because it's just like what Seth Meyers said to Meghan. You do have to understand that for the first time, not that we haven't had Muslim members in the Senate, or in the House before. Keith Ellison was Muslim. We have had Muslim persons in the House before, in Congress before. These women who are in there now, these two women, and I forget the other representative's name, but is it Talibi? Something kind of like that. I'm forgetting it. But these two women who are now in Congress and who are both Muslim, they are not Keith Ellison. They are talking about things and they're addressing things in a way that is different and is more open. And you have to understand, when you have somebody come into the fray that just comes from a whole different background and a whole different standpoint, period, historically, amongst other reasons, they're not going to frame things and talk about things the same way that you did. What I find interesting about that, when Donald Trump put out that tweet with Hillary Clinton, and it had the Star of David and all the dollar signs, and everybody on the left was saying you're playing into this anti-Semitism thing with Hillary Clinton. She's not a Jewish person, but they felt like, oh well, we'll tie her to this and we'll tie her to Jewish money or whatever. When that whole thing came up, there were not a lot of Republicans who were rushing to condemn him for that. As a matter of fact, they all were saying basically what they're accusing the Republicans of saying. Or the Democrats are saying or doing at this point. Oh, you guys are getting this out of context. You guys are getting this out of context. To me, the context is simply this. These are Muslim women, and Muslim people have a different relationship with the Jewish faith than do Christians. And we all know why. Okay? So I'm not going to go into that history lesson, but that is the basis of this. And so people are playing a lot of games with this because it's been there has been so much religious homogeny. Everybody's been on one accord pretty much as far as religion goes. I mean, look at how they did Barack Obama. They tried to smear him by saying that he was a Muslim. And in 2008, just like I believe now, Even if he was a Muslim, so what? What would that have to do with him governing the country? But because it is a tradition in this country that the president is Christian, I mean, that almost disqualified JFK because he was not the right type of Christian. He was a Catholic. So as we continue to grow as a country and get more diversified, these are just more and more areas that we're going to get into, and we're going to have to understand that people are not going to agree with us because of our historical standpoint with the country. They have their own. Now, the representative has apologized for her comments, and I think that's a good thing because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your intent was. It matters the impact that your statements and that your actions have. And that's a part of being mature and growing up. Learning to acknowledge, okay, yes, this was not my intent, but this was the impact, and therefore I'm responsible and I am accountable for it. I'm glad that she apologized, and I'm glad that she's trying to move forward. Now, the contentious portion of the interview. Meghan continued to try to harp on those points of the tweets that the Congresswoman had put out. And Seth Meyers continued repeatedly to very gently, in my humble opinion, just kind of fact checked her like, well, yeah, she did say those things, but she's also apologized, and she's saying that going forward, she's going to be working with people of the Jewish faith to better understand and have better context of the things that she's saying. Meghan said to him, what are you, her publicist? And so Seth had to say to her, well, no, I'm not, but I think it's worth just noting that, that she is a minority female in the House, and that persons that are in a minority, they don't always have the same perspective. She has a reason that she has a different perspective, and he personally felt that the quotes that were put out there were taken out of context. So this exchange went on for a minute, and as soon as Seth pushed back on her and brought up the fact that she had made these comments, well, first of all, he had also said that she had made these comments, Meghan McCain, was saying some things about the Congresswoman after this recent tragedy that we had at the mosque, and also after the Congresswoman has been receiving death threats. Meghan had still went on a Sunday show and repeated some of these talking points. And Seth was just trying to get her to kind of agree, or at least acknowledge that, well, you're probably right about what you're saying. The Congresswoman needs to certainly be much more careful and be much more cognizant of what she's saying going forward. But don't you also feel like that extends to the other side? Do you feel like you should have still made these comments, even though, number one, they may have been taken out of context, and number two, considering the timing of what was going on the weekend, the Sunday that you went on George Stephanopoulos and made these comments? She tensed up. Her shoulders got tense. She tensed up in her face. She immediately went into this defensive mode that we've seen her do time and time again over the last 2 years on The View. She tried to ask and compare Donald Trump to this woman, and this woman's tweets are nothing compared to the rhetoric that has come out of that guy's mouth. Not even close. And he hasn't just insulted one group of people. He has made it a point to insult several groups of people to appease one particular group of persons. Okay? I want you guys to listen to this little bit of an exchange here that happened, because it's very telling about Meghan's personality and her. One thing that I really saw before I play this clip, I know I'm kind of dragging this on, but before I play this clip, one thing that I really saw in the beginning when they were speaking about, oh, that's right, because they also spoke about Aidy Bryant in her portrayal of Meghan on SNL. And she was saying that they had gone to the same preparatory high school, and which I didn't know. That's pretty cool. And she was saying, oh, and it's so weird to see somebody you went to high school with portraying you and this and that and the other, and, whatever. And all during that first portion of the interview, she was very pleasant. The audience was clapping for her and with her. And I saw how needy she is. Meghan McCain is very needy. And that's why it's making more sense to me. That's why she lashes out at the studio audience at The View like she does, because she literally every day comes in there with the mindset of these people are all against me. None of them want to hear what I have to say. Instead of coming in with the mindset of all these people came to see The View, including me. They want to hear what I have to say, and I have some real genuine fans out there. Meghan really has this, it's her against, whoever else that disagrees with her type of attitude. And if you're not agreeing with her, you are disagreeing with her. And not only are you disagreeing with her, but you now have placed yourself in like an adversary role. If you'll notice, when Seth was talking to her, the first thing that she brought up, he was talking about the congresswomen, the 2 Muslim congresswomen, newly elected, okay, in 2018, have a differing opinion. The first thing she said was, oh, well, I understand that. I mean, I work with Joy Behar on The View. Why did you bring up Joy Behar's name? You work on The View. Every woman at that table has a different opinion, but you really had to go out of your way to bring up Joy's name. It is more than clear that their relationship behind the scenes is something else. It's something else. But anyway, let me go ahead and play this quick clip for you guys, and I'm going to wrap this video up.
The idea of like, let's all try to meet in the middle on things. We have to listen to other people's perspective. And
oh, I agree. I work on The View with Joy Behar every day. I listen to other perspectives all day long.
Is there a way for people to talk about differences in Israeli policy without getting framed as anti-Semitic language?
Yeah, I just think you can't talk about Jews hypnotizing the world, talking about all about the Benjamins.
You keep bringing up the 2 tweets that she's apologized for, and I think that's a little unfair to her, especially because we've established...
Are you her publicist?
What?
Are you her press person?
No, I'm just someone who cares about the fact that there's someone out there who is in a minority, who has had death threats against her, and I think that we should all use the same language that you're asking her to be careful about her language, and I would ask everybody else to be careful about theirs.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'm not sure what would make you happy coming out of my mouth right now? I'm genuinely curious.
I'm perfectly happy with everything that's coming out of my mouth, and I like that we spent this time together.
Okay, you seem a little, I mean, I think, my opinions are very strong, and I think sometimes because
that is coming across. I do want you to know that.
But, well, I'm on a network show.
Yeah.
I'm on ABC, and I think sometimes when you're a hardcore conservative woman like I am, I think sometimes it's daunting. I'm not on Fox News anymore. I'm on ABC. And I think sometimes my beliefs, even though I do believe I represent the vast majority of people in red states, or at least a lot of women in the middle of the country who are pro-life, pro-NRA, strong foreign policy hawks, people who believe in limited and small government. I think that sometimes it's seen.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there because I probably played it a little longer than I even should have. But you see what I'm saying? That whole exchange. What do you mean? What would make him happy? This is not about making Seth Meyers happy. This is about telling your truth. And if that's the way you feel, then that's fine. You stick to it. Other people are going to disagree, and that is okay. That is perfectly acceptable. Also, Meghan, you're not the only conservative woman that's on a network besides for Fox. There are lots of conservative women and men that are on other networks all day long. And I know you must know that. Tons of them. Tons of analysts on other networks that are not Fox News. They do not all behave like you. This is going to be my final note, and I appreciate you guys again sticking with me on this, but this is my last thought. I really do believe that Meghan McCain and in part Abby are the reason why The View did not bring home any of those Emmys this year. I really do truly believe that. Meghan McCain has been insufferable, and be clear about these award shows. These are not People Choice Awards, okay? These are not you and I, the viewers, writing in and voting to say who gets an Emmy or who gets a Grammy or who gets an Oscar or a Tony. These are industry peers that vote. So who you make friends with and who you piss off in the game and whose friends you're pissing off in the game can make a big difference to whether you end up bringing home those awards or not. And I think Meghan's behavior may have cost them some of those awards this year. I hate to say it, but I do believe that that's the case because she has made the show very uncomfortable, and you can't even really focus on anything, the way she's been acting and lashing out. Because a lot of those awards, I know that they should have won. I think I saw that The Real got like best, hair and makeup or costume or whatever that award is. And I'm just like, these women have looked great every single day. In particular, Sunny, they've had great makeup. They've had great costumes. I don't know. I just do not know. But that's my It's my hunch anyway, and I'm gonna stick with it until I hear something otherwise. But thank you guys again for listening. I'm sorry this video ran so long. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Please, you know, do what you do. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe. If you do subscribe, please make sure to turn on the notifications, and that way you'll never miss a new upload. And for now, that's it. That's all.